don't worry. We're going to be taking those jacks out and putting them back in many times. I'm only gluing a couple of things at a time inside here. Lord, oh lordy, there's a lot of stuff needs glued. And if you can see that knife right there, indicates we have a back brace loose as well. These two jacks, you see, are for top braces glued to the top, but there's not a lot of pressure on that, but it's enough to tell me that that back brace is not glued. From the knife there in this direction, it is glued. From the knife down to the bottom of the guitar, as you can see, is not. So I got to clean all that dust out of there and clean that up good and get some glue in there. And we still have 3 braces on the top that need to be glued yet. So lots of glue. Man, this guitar was literally coming apart in pieces. So let me get these jacks out of here and check the braces out that they are holding, and then we'll decide whether we want to do that back brace next or continue with top ones. Hold on. Well, up on further inspection, let me just show you some of the things that we're running into with this guitar. Okay, there's the hole, there's the neck, you're looking down in the hole. Here's another back brace loose. Okay, now hang on. Okay, looking in a different direction, down in the hole toward the back of the guitar, there's another one loose. I got the knife stuck under it now. We're not finished yet. Hold on. And yet another one. These are all back braces I'm showing you. Still looking downward away from the fretboard. Now, there's another one back there. And it's loose too. So, rather than working on these cracks, which glued together very well, by the way, I just want to do some touch-up work on that and on this one. But it doesn't look like we're going to get to do that. Well, we might get to do that tonight. Mainly, I'm going to, right now, go over those back braces, check every one of them all the way across, and get ready to glue. So, stay tuned for that. Okay, just to catch you up on what's going on here. As you saw inside, there are 4 braces that go across that back. One here, one about here, and one about here. 4 of them, okay? All 4 are loose on both ends, oddly enough. You know, I don't want to put a whole bunch of jacks in there and start shoving the guitar apart, so I've got to go with 1 brace at a time. I'm going to start with the one in the farthest back, glue it, let it set up for 12 hours or so, and then I'll tackle the next one, 12 hours, till we get all those back braces glued. I wouldn't even have glued the braces that I did glue on top here if I had seen that. I knew one back here was loose, but I didn't know all 4 of them were loose until right now. And I don't want to, I want to have everything as secure as I can get it before we go to work on gluing these top braces. And there's a shitload of them loose too. Man, I've never seen so many braces come loose on a guitar at once like that before. So anyways, I'm just taking a damp cloth here right now, taking a small knife, and I'm just sticking that knife back in between the brace and the back, because there's a lot of dust in there. We want to get that as clean as we can so we'll get a good bond. Do each brace like that. Now, I'm only worried about this back one right now. I'm just going to do one at a time. But anyways, that's what I'm doing right now. Sticking a knife in there with a damp cloth, and I'm running it along where the brace is loose. Getting, you know, trying to get it clean between the brace and the back. Then, you guessed it, pipette again. So I can suck that up full of tight bond and get back in there. I'm going to stick a knife in the crack again to separate it enough, and I'll crimp the end of this. Crimp the end of the pipette so I can shove it right underneath the brace, right between the brace and the back, and get that glue in there good. So that's what we're doing now. I'll be back when I get the jack set. So hold on. So try to get you one more shot here. I think we have a good clean bite. If you can see that, we had good squeeze out all the way. Well, it was only loose up until about right there where the light, the center of the light. From right that point all the way to the side was loose. Same way with the other one. Well, with all of them for that matter. But got them glued pretty good. I had to put clamps on the outside here because this thing is so unstable, unsecure. All these braces up here in the top are, well, I glued, let's see, the one right here that went past this crack. I glued it. That's the only one. The rest of them I don't want to glue until I have all this other shit fixed, the back braces. So, and, you know, and putting those jacks in there was shoving the guitar apart, where I was afraid it would, because of the bracing being so loose. So that's the reason for these. They don't have much pressure on them. They have protection rubber things on them here, so it doesn't hurt the guitar. But they don't have very much pressure at all, just enough to where it doesn't shove this top back out or up, belly it up like it was when it came here. So I'm going to leave that for 12 hours at least before I move on to the next brace, which would be that one. Same thing, it's loose on that end and it's loose on this end. Same thing with that brace right there, and the same thing with this one. Good Lord, it's hard to tell what we'll get into when we start really checking out those top braces, but I'm going to save this guitar. It's going to live again. So I'll see you in 12 hours, folks. Cheers. Okay, so I left it for 24 hours. I don't want to take any chances, so I'm really leaving that glue dry. I got a light in there. You can see one of the jacks. Maybe. There's you a good shot. So we got to do this very same thing on that brace and then on that one before we can do any more repairs to the top. So I'm going to put the camera in the tripod, get these jacks out of here, and glue this next brace, that one right there. And then maybe start on the frets, or the keys probably. I need to check those keys. So hold on, let me get the camera in the pod, get all this stuff done, and I'll bring you back and we'll decide whether to do the keys or the frets. So as you can see, we have good squeeze out there. You can see that. And good squeeze out there. Now I'm going to leave those for 24 hours. Tomorrow I'll come back and take them off, and we'll do this brace. Then we can start bracing the top of the thing. Braces on the top that have came loose inside. So between now and that time, I think I'm either going to work on frets or check those keys. I believe I'll check the keys because this video might be starting to get kind of long, so hang on. So the keys are, they have an oil hole there. They're pretty much sealed up. I was hoping that this cover would pop off so I could get to the gear, this cover, so I could get to the gear inside of here. I can still put a drop of oil on them, but I just cleaned around them, putting them all back in now. I'm back to the last one. Ooh-wee. Good girl. Good girl. See if we can get you in here. I don't think you're tall enough to reach. Can't do it. We'll get her shortly though, folks. Stay tuned. There is a lot of like crud built up right against each fret. There you can see what's coming off. And I want to be able to see if that fret is seated against the fretboard. I'm going to get this crap out of there so I can see in there and make sure. Just want to show you quickly before we start what the frets look like right now. I've cleaned the board off already in the frets. Right here along the 3rd, 4th, and 5th seems to be the most wear. If you can see that. It's not all that bad, but it's, you know, it's bad enough. It needs a fret dressing job. So anyways, you can see the wear on them. That's the worst area. Now we're passing it. But they're worn all the way down. If you can see, I don't know if you can see these or not. I don't think you can see them on the camera. There's the 9th fret. So I'm coloring all the frets blue. Now I'm not going to film this entire fret dressing job, but there's a lot of videos. I've got a bunch of videos already up of me doing that. If you want to watch those, there's plenty of them, full featured videos. So I'm not going to get into that on this guitar because it just has too much stuff to be done to it. And I doubt if you can see this with the camera up there, but I'm coloring the frets blue so I can see exactly what's been taken off of them. And where those dents are that you saw, when the blue down in that dent is almost gone, I'll start lightening up on my grit, and we'll start to bring them to a very slick, shiny level. By the way, the neck is perfectly straight. I used a straight edge on it just to make sure it was flat, completely flat, but there is a little hump right there. But it'll all come out in the wash. So anyways, I'll bring you back when I get make some headway. All done. I wanted to show you a little more of what I was talking about with the blue, coloring the frets blue. You can see the file has pretty much hit the entire fret across the tops. But those frets that were wore, you can see the ones that had the most wear, the dents are still blue. See what I'm talking about? So we need to keep filing until those dents are gone, those blues are gone. So I just wanted to point that out for those that might not have known. So back to filing, flattening. One more shot. If you can see that, there's just a tiny, minute bit of blue left where that first string, you can see it right there. I hope the camera's getting it. So I want to stop there because I got to put the arch back in these frets and go to a lighter grit and crown them and all that. And by the time I do all that, that tiny little bit's going to be gone. This way I don't take any more fret away than absolutely necessary. So let me find arch, the arch. I got to get the arch in this board. One thing I should have mentioned when you're flattening your frets, of course you want to have the neck as straight as you possibly can get it, but if you have a block like this holding the neck up here, you don't want to push very hard down here because you're going to push warp into that neck. You're going to force relief into it as you're pushing down sanding. Same here, what I'm getting ready to do, put the arch back in the frets. You know, I got this almost in the middle of the neck, but I don't want to push very hard because, you know, you can bend the neck, warp it, and then you're working on a non-flat surface. I've determined it's a 16-inch radius. I usually check it mostly at around the 12th fret, and usually up here it's, well, yeah, it's 16 up here too. Sometimes they graduate as they come down the fretboard. You can make these things right here. If you don't have them yourself, you can, all it is say we take a sheet of paper right here, put a dot right in the very center, that'll be our center point, and then measure out 16 inches and just come around that complete center point, 16 inches from the dot that you made, and you'll have a 16-inch radius. A 16 radius block here. I've got 800 grit paper on it right now. What I'm going to do is just, there again, you don't want to shove down on that hard. I'm just going to run it back and forth, you know, with moderate pressure against it. This guitar has a very, very hard fret wire in it. Extremely hard fret wire. I went over it once. Started down here and worked my way up to the nut. I'm using one of these diamond grit files. They're much faster. As hard as these frets are. Right now I just went over it with 150 grit. You can just, all you do is just reverse this, and now I have 300 grit here. So I'm going to start down here, go over it again with 300 grit, and then we'll start really, once we get that crown on there good, we'll start polishing them and just make them as slick as a piece of glass. So I just want to show you where we was at so far. One pass at 150 grit with this, and I'm going to go another pass with 300 grit, and then we're going to whip the finer sandpaper out and concentrate on that. So I'll bring you back. I just want to step you through the steps of all this stuff. So I'll bring you back when we get through with this and start with the polishing. One thing I've been asked about before is, like, when you're crowning these, how do you not take too much off or make one fret uneven from the other after going to the trouble of leveling them and everything? Well, it depends on the file you use. With these files, with the diamond grit file, this is the 300 grit I have on here now. When you first start, it'll be very slick. There's not much friction there at all. And you can actually hear it there. Now the file's starting to catch. You can actually feel and hear the file when it starts to dig in. At that point, then you know you are making great progress. And that's when you want to, you know, make sure you got a crown and stop. Now I'm going over the ends of these files just a tiny bit with this. Not really the ends, just, you know, making sure there's no sharp spots sticking up. That one's done. 2 more to go, folks. Then we'll start polishing. But I wanted to mention that. I keep thinking of little things. So we have beautiful crowns now. Very, very nice crowns. They're beginning to really look good, the frets. The next very time-consuming thing is sandpaper. We're going to polish these frets. I'm going to start with a 600 grit. I've already cut them out. It's 600. This is 800. This one's 1200, 1500, and 2000. Which the 2000 will polish it off to a bottle glass slick, very smooth look. So here we go. This is what it looks like, folks. Very slow process. I know a lot of so-called luthiers that when they do a fret job, they don't do this step. They just they say, well, you know, you play it a little while, it'll wear off slick really fast. Do you believe that? A lot of them do that. And they'll return your instrument to you without actually polishing the frets, especially in this state where I live. I'm not putting any of you guys down. I'm not mentioning any names. You know who you are. But I don't like to let a fret job go like that. I mean, it's just a... When you bend the string, it's a real... well, it's a shitty sound and feel. It's what it is. It just feels gritty and shitty. This way, when you bend that string... Let me fold this in half. This way, when you bend that string, you're not going to get, it's just going to be like, you know, bending on a piece of glass, man. It's going to be that slick. Or slicker than that, actually. So anyways, I've got to go all the way down the fretboard and do this with a 600 grit. Get the 800 grit piece, come back up here, start all over again, go all the way down the fretboard, 1200, 1500, 2000. And then we'll see, you know, they should look awesome then. Should really look sweet. So to keep this video a little bit shorter than usual, I'll bring you back when I get to 2000. I got my hands dirty. Well, folks, we're done here with the complete fret job. I want to put some oil on this board, wax these up a little bit, clean the fretboard up just a little bit again, and then I'll bring you back and show you. Went all the way through the grits of sandpaper. Man, they really look nice. You got to get a shot. I have to get you a shot of this up close because they are erectifying. Now, they're really good looking. They look very nice. Tim, I think you're going to be real happy with this. Johnson, they may have cut us a little short on the glue joints on this guitar, but man, they sure put some fret wire in it. That stuff is, I don't think it's stainless steel, but it's, I don't know what it is. It's really hard, tough stuff, but it's done. It's a done deal. Let me clean it up a little bit and I'll bring you in close and show you. Well, I just now rubbed some linseed oil over the fretboard. Man, it soaked it up like cardboard. I mean, it's just evaporating practically. I rubbed it down. I'm going to let that set a few minutes and put another coat or two on it. That board's very dry, the fretboard. Man, those frets are gorgeous. I'm going to show them to you in a minute. That's about all I can do right now until that glue sets up on those braces, back braces. It looks pretty good, like it's drying, but I'm going to leave them on there for 24 hours. And then we have one more brace in the front up here to glue. In the back, actually. It's on the top of the guitar, up on this end of it. That's the fourth one on the back. Have to glue the sides of that. I'll do that tomorrow. And maybe I can start tomorrow, finish the repairs on the top braces, the X braces and the voicing bars, and just, man, I have found, as of right now, 16 glue joints broken loose. 16 of them. What was Johnson thinking, man? I don't have them all glued yet. Like I say, I don't want to do anything else to the top and the bracing until everything else is secure in there. I should have checked those back braces. They had a lot of dust around them and they didn't look like they had moved. And I never really stuck a knife in there to see, which I should have in the beginning, but I didn't do it because they looked good. They looked like they hadn't moved. They looked like they were tight. Found one loose, checked the other side of it. It was loose. Got to checking all 4 braces, and both ends were all loose. That's 8 glue joints just in the back braces. Plus the back was coming off. If you remember in earlier videos, I had to glue the back on here at the heel of on the neck. 16 glue joints loose, folks. I don't know. Never seen that many let go before, and the guitars stay together. So anyways, tomorrow we'll take those jacks out, move them up on this upper brace and glue it, and then I'll go to work on these other braces on the top that's came loose. Now that I've found those on the back loose, I'm going to check every single glue joint inside of here. I'm going to go over that top from the inside and check them all. And you know what? If I had have known those back braces were loose and the back was coming off, I would have just took the back off of it, took the binding off from the back and took the whole thing out. Then I could repair this top. You know, it would have all been wide open and I could get in there. I have a hell of a time getting my arms and hands in that little hole. But I'll do it. I've done it before many times before. And we're going to do it again. I've been doing it again. But I'm going to rub this off of here, put another coat on. See, it's just sucking it up like a piece of dry cardboard, man. But I'm going to rub it off, put another coat on, and see how much of it absorbs, and wipe it down, and then I'll bring you back and show you the frets, and we'll end this thing. Check it out, Mary. Let me get over here where the light maybe. This thing has got some nice frets in it. Crowned, polished. Need to wipe it off now. You can see what I'm talking about. YouTube user about giving his name. He said it was okay. His YouTube name is Gene Paul. His first name's Tim. So Tim, do you remember how the frets were wore? Well, they're brand new again. Just like they're better than brand new frets. Should make mention I used this semi-chrome polish to polish them up. You can, I don't know if you can still buy that stuff or not, but $6 it has on this box, and I bought this stuff like 30 years or more ago. And it really does a fine job on frets, and any kind of chrome it's nice, or nickel even, it works good on. So frets are ready for strings. I went over the keys today and did what I could with them. Like I say, there's still 2 jacks inside of here holding the ends of those back braces down. There's one over here too. Tomorrow I'll come back and take those jacks out. It'll be 24 hours and put them on that brace, that right there, that end of it, and the other end over here. And dig those frets, baby. Are you seeing this? They are sweet. Check that out. This thing should play better than a new guitar. Anyways, we're going to get these jacks out tomorrow. Put them back in on a different brace. And go to work on this braces on this top. We'll start on that again tomorrow. I started on it and did like 1 or 2 glue jobs and then discovered those back braces loose. But anyways, we'll start on those tomorrow, because with the clamps in here holding them in place, I can go ahead and start to kind of piece things together up here. So that's where we are today. See you guys on the next video. Look at those frets, man. Cheers, folks.